It's a day for giving.
I'm gonna get me some.
A day for sharing.
Austin 316 says I just ripped your...
A time to tell that special someone how you really feel.
Vince McMahon, I know you hate my guts, and I feel the same way about you.
Boss Cage, WWF St. Valentine's Day Massacre, live on pay-per-view.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Back in the saddle again. My name is Justin Phillips, but you can call me J-Phil. And we are back here on the Reviewing All Comers podcast. Today, we're going to be looking at WWF St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And before we really get into the thick of things, I'd like to introduce my co-host, my guest at this time. First, let me bring in Mr. Jared Weathers. Without further ado, Jared, are you here?
Hello.
Hey, Jared, how we doing tonight? You looking forward to reviewing St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
I am, and then I'm excited to tell everybody what we will be reviewing next on episode 10.
That's right. The big reveal is coming up after this show, ladies and gentlemen. So stick around, not just for St. Valentine's Day Massacre's review, but also our big reveal for episode number 10. It's going to be great. And also, we have another special guest with us at this time. Along with us to review tonight's pay-per-view, it's going to be the man himself, the executioner, Mr. E.T., Eric Tyler Mullins. Let's bring him in.
Right. He just left, actually.
He did?
Yeah, his internet might be messing up here.
Well, if his internet will sustain, we will get him in, ladies and gentlemen, and get his thoughts on this show as well. But in the meantime, you will have Jared and I, for sure.
Yes.
And E.T. may be popping in and out, and we can kind of get his thoughts on some of this as well. But Jared, this show took place, to give the fans a little bit of background before we hop into the matches and everything, on February 14th, 1999. Big time, the WWE, or back then the WWF, had a lot of steam, had a lot of momentum, was starting to win the Monday Night Wars. I think we're getting E.T. back in here before I continue that sentence. Hey, E.T., are you with us?
I'm with you, buddy. What's up?
Hey, we're just now starting to talk about, good timing, we're talking about now getting into the show a little bit, but I'm giving a little backstory. So we are set in the height of the Attitude Era. Again, February 14th, 1999. This show took place at the Pyramid, right off the banks of the Mississippi River, in Memphis, Tennessee. So Memphis, always a hot crowd. Fans, wild at the time, late 90s. I believe there was over 19,000 people there in attendance that night. I'm pretty sure. And before we get to the matches, I just want to briefly mention that we have the King, Jerry Lawler, and Michael Cole on commentary for this show. Now, the first match of the show, when I started watching this show, I couldn't remember the first match, right? And I was like, why can I not remember the first match of this show? Because, growing up, when you're young, there's a lot of iconic opening matches in WWE history, but for this one, it's a little bit off the wall, shall I say, kind of interesting. As we see, they open up the raucous Memphis crowd with Goldust versus Blue Dust. Oh, man. So, basically, yeah, right, E.T.?
Yeah.
So this match, the Blue Meanie debuted late 98, I want to say. And he had started a feud with Goldust before this show. So basically, he is trying to parody Goldust, get under his skin. So he's morphed into this, instead of the Blue Meanie, as most people know him, this Blue Dust gimmick. So what happens is, in this match, they're really playing off spots. They're not really doing a whole lot. Like, Blue Meanie's kind of like in this weird attire. Well, I'll call him Blue Meanie, but Blue Dust, whatever you want to call him. He's Blue Dust for this match. He's almost in like a he's in like this blue bathrobe, really. He looks so odd. And then underneath it, it's almost like he has a Jared, what would you call it? Like a onesie or like a big romper?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like pajamas almost.
Yeah, he's in like pajamas and he's out here trying to seriously fight Goldust. Like I said, this match is very short for an opener. It only lasts around 3 minutes. Goldust teases the Shattered Dreams, his finisher, at one point in this match, but he doesn't deliver it just yet. Basically, what happens towards the end of this match is the Blue Dust goes for a moonsault, and Goldust moves out of the way, and then he proceeds to set up for the curtain call, his other finisher, the lifting DDT. Gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. After the match, the Memphis crowd is still clamoring for a Shattered Dreams, and it gets delivered. For an opener, you know, it's definitely quite a visual. I'll give it that. I'm going to rate this a little bit below average. I mean, the fans were actually into this, but I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Be a little nice to it because it did hype up the fans. So, Jared, do you want to give your thoughts next and then ET?
I will go last.
You want to go last. Okay, that's fine. All right, ET. So, what are your thoughts on Goldust versus Blue Dust in the opener of St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
All right, here's Dave Meltzer's notes. I wrote them down from the Wrestling Observer. Great resource, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have Peacock, use the Wrestling Observer. The highlight of this match, if there was one, was Goldust giving Blue Meanie a wedgie and then spanking his ass. Goldust got the pin after hitting the curtain call. He would hit him with Shattered Dreams in the post, in the corner after the match. Meltzer rated this -1 star, was not very high on this match. For me personally, just from reading his notes, I give it a 2 out of 10.
All right, then. And Jared, what would you like to add to this?
I don't have much, but I'll add what I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's very short.
Goldust doesn't waste time and attack Blue Dust before the bell. Goldust smacks Blue Dust's ass. Hit the final cut, pins and wins. I gave it a 1 out of 10. The only thing I can say was Teddy Long was the ref. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't mention that. Good observation, Jared.
Good job.
I mean, really, like, Teddy Long, for those who don't know, like, you know, younger wrestling fans don't remember this probably, but a little bit of insight here. Teddy Long was a famous ref before he was in that general manager's role. So it's cool to see him on Peacock and when you're going back and watching some of these old shows as a ref.
I think he started with WWF back in '98, right?
As a referee, yeah, but he was also going back even further, and I'm sure ET knows this too. He was a manager in WCW too for like Doom. I want to say it was like Simmons and Ron Simmons and I forget Simmons' tag partner. But
was it Ahmed? Was it Ahmed Johnson?
I don't think it was Ahmed Johnson. You're thinking of the new Harlem Heat when he came in
Should
as
have
Big
been.
T.
I know he. That's true. I think it was the early to mid '90s. He was there as a manager in WCW. I actually have his WCW trademark card, believe that or not. So here at the house. So there you go.
That's really cool.
Hold on. I'm looking it up. Hold on. Maybe 1 second here.
Okay. Yeah.
He was. Doom. Oh, it was Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. Butch Reed as Doom.
Butch Reed.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for that, Jared.
Butch Reed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool seeing Teddy Long. Interesting to see Meanie as the Blue Dust here and in WWF after ECW here. So, was, I wouldn't call it average, but for an opener, simply because the crowd was in it, that's why I gave my rating of a 4. Like, really not much here, but name value, seeing Goldust, and I just enjoyed the Blue Meanie, in what capacity I get to see him every now and then. So, but regardless, let's move on to match number 2. And this is where I want to spend just a little bit of time, because if you know me, anything about me, one of my favorite belts, if not probably my favorite belt, other than Big Gold, the World Heavyweight title, is without a doubt the Hardcore Championship. The WWE Hardcore Championship. So in this next match, we really see a birth of a new character here. And I'll touch on that in just a second. But our next match is for the Hardcore title. It's Bob Holly. At the time, he was Bob Holly. Taking on his former Job Squad stablemate, Al Snow. And I got to throw in Head in there, because with Head, So, basically, what we get here is this is playing off like Bob Holly sort of becoming his own man, in a way. Like, he's cut his teeth. He's been in, like, bad gimmick stables. He's been in failed tag teams and stuff before. He's had a couple bad gimmicks, like I'm saying. And finally, Al Snow is wanting to get in on the Hardcore title match. And I think at this time, Road Dogg was... so he had suffered an injury, so the Hardcore title was vacant. So basically, these two fight for the Hardcore title. And this match, like, is just all out craziness, fun. It spills out of the ring. They go to the backstage, and they're using everything but the kitchen sink, really. Like, I wrote down here in my notes, most of the spots take place backstage. They use everything from a fire extinguisher, like, they go over to the payphone. They use beer coolers, chairs. And here's the kicker to this match and the big payoff to this match I want to talk about. Like, one of the coolest visuals you'll ever see in a Hardcore title match. Now, if you're a fan of, any old school wrestling or Memphis history, I'm sure the Memphis fans, and then they reacted to this spot nicely, too. I thought they reacted to it well. Both men head outside, and where the pyramid is, they're right off the banks of the Mississippi River, really. So they work their way down to the riverbank, and they're hitting each other with, like, road signs and sticks and stuff. But the massive spot is Al Snow throws Bob Holly into the river. And keep in mind, this is February of '99, so it's got to be, like 20, 30 degrees outside. There is no way it's over, 30, I would say. Like, at this time in Memphis, because it's winter. Both men fall in. Like, Al Snow also takes, like, a back body drop into the river. And then finally this match ends up, I would say that Bob Holly outsmarted Al Snow. What he does is very creative and pretty genius, I think. He rolls him up in chain link fence for added leverage. Then he pins him. 1, 2, 3. In about a 10-minute all-out brawl, I'll dub him now Hardcore Holly is your new Hardcore champion. For me, and I know this one I may rate higher than you two. I don't know how you two felt about this. This is one of my all-time favorite Hardcore title matches, and just because I'm big on the Hardcore stuff, I'm going to give this one actually a very high 9 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is kind of like your quintessential cornerstone Hardcore title, truly.
I'm sorry. Could you say your rating again? You kind of cut out there for a minute.
Oh, sorry. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I really enjoyed this, guys. Nothing else really for me to add. This is the final thing I'll add to this is this was around the time that WWE was creative with their finishes. Super creative. Super creative in the fact that you had, earlier, this was after halftime heat between The Rock and Mankind and the forklift pin, right? Yeah. So here we see another, creative finish with the chain link fence pin. So that just adds to it for me. ET, what do you think about this match?
All right, Bob Holly won the vacant hardcore title by beating Al Snow in 10 minutes and 2 seconds. Meltzer wrote, the title was announced as vacant with Road Dogg having an injury, but according to Meltzer, he was going to rehab for alcoholic problems at the time. Lots of spots using fire extinguishers and other various weapons throughout the match. They would head outside the arena and would fight towards the Mississippi Riverbank, as Phillips mentioned before, and both took a spill into the cold water of the river. Bob Holly would finish the match by wrapping Al Snow up in mesh fence and giving him an Alabama slam for the pin. Meltzer rated this 1 star. I think it's a little bit better than that. Originally, when I wrote this down, I had it as a 5, but I think I want to change my rating here. I'm going to go with the 6. I think this match is a little better than what Meltzer gives it credit for. So 6 out of 10 for me on this one. Jared?
Okay. Jesus. In my notes, I said, starting out in the ring, this match quickly got out of hand. They hit each other with everything from trash cans to tiles. Snow punched Holly in the face. It sounded like he actually hit him in the face. Holly wraps Snow in some fencing, pins and wins the Hardcore Championship. Obviously, Phillips already said before. Becomes Hardcore Holly after this match. I give it a 7 out of 10 simply for the fact that Snow did not talk to Head in this entire match. I thought that was really weird. And another match after this. So.
All right.
But still, above average, nonetheless.
Very good.
Yes, very good match. I don't know. I feel like the kid in me just still absolutely loves this match. I go back and watch it.
It's a great match. He just doesn't feel like that. Crazy guy talking to a fake Head.
Yeah. After this, kind of a weird little match when I went back and watched this show.
True.
Match number 3 is playing off before I announce the participants. This is when the corporation and the ministry are still undergoing a bit of a rivalry, faction warfare going on here in the WWE. You have Big Boss Man, who is the corporation's enforcer, or in that enforcer style role, pretty much, going up against a recently initiated, I'll say, Midian of the ministry. Undertaker had just converted him. I mean, they're doing really pushing the envelope stuff, for the Attitude Era. Like Undertaker basically like slit his wrist and the Midian drinks the blood and stuff, and that's how kind of he's initiated. He comes out during the entrance. I thought it was interesting. They always have Midian's character have something to do with the eye. Sometimes I guess they're playing off sometimes you can see things with more than just the eye, or maybe an eye into the paranormal, maybe kind of here.
Something like that, yeah.
With his gimmick.
Yeah.
So we have Bossman versus Midian. These two are heavyweights. You're not going to get much technical from them. You're not going to get submissions or anything. You're going to get some powerful punches. You're going to get some slams and some corner spots and different things like that.
Yeah.
This match only went about 6 minutes, and it ended up with Bossman catching Midian off the ropes with Bossman slam. Basically here, also what I wrote down, post-match is where it gets kind of interesting too, because the rest of the ministry comes out, and they beat up Bossman after he's beaten Midian. And it looks like they're carrying him backstage. To do something with him. But that's never really elaborated on later in the show, or even on the next night, at Raw.
Right.
And this is setting up, keep in mind, that obviously fans, this is right before WrestleMania 15.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a precursor to The Undertaker and the Big Boss Man Hell in a Cell match. So they're setting up that rivalry in a way. I didn't much care for this match. To me, it's kind of the lull in the card, kind of the bad match, I would say. I mean, in the opener, it's good that they're on the early matches of the card because it really heats up later in the card. I only gave this one a 3 out of 10. I was somewhat I could have went a little lower, but, mainly because the post-match tactics and what we saw there. It's cool visual seeing Big Boss Man being carried out by the Ministry. I gave this one a 3 out of 10. ET, what do you think on it?
Big Boss Man pinned Midian in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Meltzer wrote, crowd was mostly flat for this match, and King on commentary would say, everybody loves the Ministry, which was not the case. Boss Man laid in some punches. Midian's offense was not up to par to Boss Man. Boss Man would sell a very rough-looking clothesline to Midian. Fans just was not buying it as a threat to Boss Man at the time. Boss Man would hit a slam out of nowhere for the pin. After the match, the Ministry would take out Boss Man. Meltzer rated this one as -1 star. I think it's a little harsh, but I'm not going to go much better than that. I'm going to say it's around a 4 out of 10 for me, simply because of the build-up to the Undertaker match at WrestleMania 15. Jared?
Thank you, E.T. I said Midian starts out by getting beat up. They mentioned his former gimmicks on commentary. Obviously, he was a part of the Boss Man punches Midian in the face. German suplex by Midian, but Boss Man pins and wins and gets taken away by the Ministry. I gave it a 1 out of 10. I had nothing to say after that because that's how bad it was. Nothing.
Yeah, I like I said, it was. If it wasn't for the post-match stuff for me, I wouldn't have even rated it a 3. I would have been closer to your rating, Jared.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everybody, like, this is one of those matches, and don't get me wrong, I love the Attitude Era to death, and I won't really say much bad about it ever, if really. But there were a few bad matches like this when you're like, I thought the Attitude Era had a little bit more star power than this.
Right.
When you think of these old Attitude Era shows, sometimes, like, the card is a little bit more loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, everybody just wants to judge a show either based on the main event or just a couple of matches out of the whole picture, I guess.
Right.
Whereas there is stuff like this in shows that will bring the overall score down. But it's still cool, nevertheless, to see Taker here. The beginning of the build-up of the WrestleMania 15 match with him and Boss Man. I just, it would have been interesting. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like they could have, I don't know, had a little bit better build up to the match.
I agree.
And done some more stuff. Like, maybe if one of, like, whenever you're a wrestler,
Absolutely.
and this is not me being harsh on Boss Man, rest his soul, and I think Midian's passed away too now, if I'm not mistaken, right? I want to say Midian's also passed away. Or has
he is not. No, he's still alive.
Man.
He's still alive.
Okay, Midian's still alive. Well,
yeah.
This is with all due respect to both competitors, but even if you're a bigger man and can do like a diving elbow drop or something, or some like spot in the match to try to evoke a reaction, at least trying is, better than nothing. Just continuing on with your playing spots and stuff. Which I'm not a pro, but that's just what I think about that match, why it's kind of low rated for me. Anyway, continuing on, match 4. Now is where we get another title match. We go into the tag team championship match. We see D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry with, if I'm not mistaken, she's debuting here, isn't she, Jared? Ivory. This was the first time Ivory was seen, wasn't it? Or one of the first times Ivory was seen.
Let me look that up. I'm not sure.
Because she was introduced as the manager for D'Lo and Mark Henry, and the reason she was added in here was because at the time, the tag team champions, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and Owen Hart, had Deborah with them. And, heel tag team champions, they'll cheat to win, they'll use their manager, yada, yada, yada. So Deborah was kind of their insurance policy. So Ivory was managing D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry here. But while you're looking that up to see if this was Ivory's first appearance on WWF TV, well, pay-per-view appearance at the very least. I think it's one or the other. Basically, this match.
Let's see here.
Are you finding anything? We're still looking.
Her first appearance in the WWF was actually as a hoe, but
Oh, I
she
got
was
those.
she was actually she actually appeared on the February 13th, 1999 episode of Raw.
Four.
Was introduced as Ivory as
Yes.
Mark Henry's love interest.
Right. Yes. So this was right around the time as Ivory she was introduced.
Yeah.
But getting into the match, this is a bit more obviously when you have guys like Jarrett and mainly Owen here. And I'll even give D'Lo some credit. D'Lo could do some technical stuff. You see a little bit more fluent, like, action here, running the ropes, rest holds, submissions, stuff like that. I feel like, between these guys here. And then you have the managers on the outside, too, to make it interesting. D'Lo tries to, do some stuff as well, mix it in here. And then Deborah gets involved. Deborah tries, distracting D'Lo and stuff, and then Ivory threatens her outside the ring. But focusing on the match at hand, Double J and Owen, they match up well with D'Lo and Henry. Henry has more power than everybody else in this match, but I thought this was a good matchup for the time. The ending of the match is another creative finish, I feel like. So it happens when Mark Henry gets Jeff Jarrett up for a gorilla press slam. And while he has him up, Owen has to do a little run around. I did laugh at that, though, for a quick second. But he does hit him with the guitar in the legs. And then Jeff Jarrett gets him in a figure four leg lock. The match ends a little under 10 minutes via figure four leg lock. Jarrett and Owen Hart retain. Ivory does get a hold of Deborah briefly, and she teases like she's going to start stripping down her clothes because she told her not to interfere. But the heels hightail it out of there, really. They get out of there, put the titles over Deborah's shirt. I did enjoy this match definitely better than the last match. I'm going to rate it average here. I'm going to give it about a 5 out of 10 for me. Average, really, for a championship tag match in the Attitude Era. ET, what do you have?
Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett retain the WWF Tag Team titles against D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry in 9 minutes and 34 seconds. Meltzer wrote, Mark Henry had a bad knee injury entering the match, so he was very limited throughout this tag team match. Actually, this made the match better because D'Lo Brown had to do the majority of the work for that team, and the match just never would click, really. Double J wasn't over in Memphis, surprisingly, as many people thought he would be. Fan focus not on the in-ring action, but on the outside action between Ivory and Deborah. The finish saw Owen Hart hit Henry in the knee, breaking the guitar, and then Jarrett would get the submission to get the win for the heels. Meltzer rated this as 1 star. I, like Phillips, give this one a 5 out of 10. Very average match. I thought Owen and Jeff and D'Lo done a pretty good job. It's rough when you have one of the men being injured in a tag team match like this, for sure. But 5 out of 10, I feel like it's very solid. Jarrett?
I said D'Lo and Owen start this match out. Owen tags in Jeff, and Deborah tries to interfere. Jeff does what I think is his finisher, but they don't say that. I believe it was the stroke, but they didn't say it wasn't the stroke. Jeff goes for a pin, but D'Lo kicks out. Jeff puts D'Lo in a headlock, and D'Lo starts to fade, and he picks up his arm, obviously. Irish whip into the corner, speeding a heel kick from Owen, goes into a pin, but D'Lo kicks out. Owen just to D'Lo. Owen throws D'Lo into the ropes, and D'Lo takes down Owen. D'Lo tags in Mark, and D'Lo gives Jeff a step up insecurity and a spine buster. Goes for a pin, but doesn't work out. D'Lo goes for a lowdown, but is distracted by Deborah. Mark goes for a gorilla press on Jeff, but Owen hits him in the knee with a guitar. Jeff pins and wins and retains the tag titles. I give it a 7 out of 10, actually. I said the wrong team won, but I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty good match, honestly. I think that this really where it starts to pick up.
Okay. Yeah, interesting rating.
Yeah.
I'm glad
That's
you
very
enjoyed
fair.
that one.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like you, and ET touched on this too. It's like, I like Jared. It's no secret I like Double J and a lot of stuff
No,
he does.
really? I
Yes.
didn't know that.
But it did surprise
Well,
me a little bit when he wasn't.
Man, how about that?
Yeah, no.
It did surprise me when he wasn't over either as a heel or, sometimes like in the WWF, and around this time, when heels were cool, they would get a pop, like the NWO, for example.
Right.
But like, yeah, it did surprise me a little bit. Jarrett wasn't as over, with the Memphis crowd. Like, it was just kind of weird. Nevertheless, cool to see. Interesting tag match.
I agree. Yep.
Now, match number 5, as we get in the latter half of the card, the second half, I should say. So this is where we get another title match, back-to-back title matches here. This time we're going to highlight the Intercontinental Championship. And when I was looking up stuff about the storyline and this little rivalry, I did have a chuckle because I had forgot about this for a little while. It's good to go back and see. For me, I kind of enjoyed this storyline. So we see Val Venus taking on Ken Shamrock. And the kicker is Val Venus is managed by storyline Ken's sister Ryan Shamrock. Mm-hmm. So the whole premise of this rivalry is that Val Venus is trying to date Ken Shamrock's little sister, trying to use her for his films, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And also another kicker in this match is we see a special guest referee in Billy Gunn. Because Billy Gunn was the Intercontinental title contender at this time. He had interjected himself into this feud a little bit. I think at one point on a previous Raw, he had even mooned Ryan Shamrock, Mr. Ass, all that. So let's get into this match a little bit. Pretty much, this is actually, I like the pacing of this match here. And I feel like Venus and Shamrock both highlight their offense pretty well. They hit signature moves and stuff that's pretty unique to them, from what I could tell. But the only thing I have against this match, and this is where other people may have something against this match too, is Billy Gunn is making an absolute kind of ass out of himself, pun intended, as the special guest referee. So he's trying to shift the focus off these two and the Intercontinental title onto himself. Basically, he has issues with both men. He's trying to, screw over both guys as much as he can. You can tell he doesn't want to call a finish just yet. So this match finally winds up. Ken Shamrock gets Val Venus in the ankle lock. You think that's it. Ryan Shamrock ends up helping out Val, pulling into safety out of the ankle lock. And then Ken Shamrock confronts his, Ryan Shamrock and says, "What are you doing?" And basically Ryan slaps the piss out of Shamrock. And then that causes Shamrock to get enraged, and he shoves Billy Gunn. Then it snowballs from there. Billy Gunn throws him back in the ring. We have a quick roll-up by Val Venus. Super quick count by Billy Gunn here. Screw job finish. And Val Venus is your new Intercontinental Champion. Which, and this match was one of the longer ones of the night. I think, actually, yeah, it was the second longest match of the night, just by a little bit. Besides, it was a little bit shorter than Mankind versus Rock, as we'll see later. And a little bit longer, actually, than our next match that we'll discuss here in a second, the other tag team match on the card. But as for this match, I'll give it slightly above average. To me, Billy Gunn was a little distracting, like I said. 6 out of 10, barely above average. But I did like the back and forth between Ken and Val and what they had to showcase for their part on this card. E.T., what would you like to add?
Val Venus defeated Ken Shamrock with Billy Gunn as special guest referee in 15 minutes 52 seconds to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Meltzer says Ken Shamrock was so sick all week that he had to stay in Toronto the week leading up to this match. Billy Gunn was counting slow for both guys throughout to start with. Shamrock hit a DDT on Venus, but Gunn counted very slow for that, for the 2 count. Venus came back and hit a low blow without Gunn paying attention. Shamrock would hit a Hurricane Rana in this match, but didn't go for the pin as thought he should. He then hit a belly to belly and got Val Venus in the ankle lock. That could have been the finish, but Ryan Shamrock would make it not the finish. Ryan Shamrock came in, slapped Ken Shamrock, and Venus hit an inside cradle for the pin. Meltzer rated this 1 1/4 stars. I disagree with that. I think it's a little bit better than that. I'm going to say 6 out of 10 as well, simply because we did have a title change. But the worst part of this match was Billy Gunn making an absolute ass out of himself. But he is Mr. Ass, so I'll give him that. Jared.
Sure. All right. So I said Val comes with Shamrock's sister, trying really hard not to touch her chest. Venus had a delayed suplex after Shamrock threw Venus out of the ring. Another suplex to Ken, backbreaker to Ken. Val throws Shamrock out of the ring and runs him into the post. Camel clutch to Shamrock. Ken doesn't give up, though. Ken comes back with some MMA-style moves, and Venus kicks him in the chest. Snapmare takeover and a bridging suplex by Venus, which is something I've never seen from
Yep.
Val. Headlock applied to Ken's midsection and a slow count by the ref, who was Billy Gunn. Ken sets up for the ankle lock, and Ryan pulls Val to the ropes for the break. Ken jumps out of the ring, yells at Ryan, pushes the ref. Gunn hits him back, shoves him back into the ring. Fast counts, and Val wins the IC title. I give it an 8 out of 10. And I actually like Billy Gunn as the ref. Obviously, he's the heel, so he's
well, yeah,
doing heelish stuff. And I just wanted to add, the woman who played Ryan Shamrock, Alicia Webb, apparently got fired for not wanting to sign a 5-year contract, and then accused China of hating her and mess with her possessions. And apparently, according to her, Vince wanted to do an incest angle between Webb and her storyline brother Ken Shamrock, who she was actually dating in real life.
Right. Yeah, I was going to mention the fact they were dating in real life. I didn't know all that other stuff, which is wild, absolutely wild for stuff going on in the Attitude Era.
Is it weird that Vince wants to do an incest angle with everybody? Is that odd to anybody but me?
No, that is odd. And Vince even was going to do something with, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure he almost pulled the trigger on an incest storyline with Stephanie, didn't he?
Yeah, it was. At first it was him and Steph, and then it was Shane and Steph.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, there has been, behind the scenes of WWF, there's some funky stuff going on, really. Like, I mean,
but then
Vince
they did
is a mad genius, but at the same time, like, that's so odd. Like, that's the mad part of him right there.
Well, then they kind of did it in WWE ECW with the Vampire Twins there, whoever they were, Kevin something.
Kevin Thorne and Ariel.
Yeah, they did it with that. I'm like, why? What's the point of this? He really wanted to do it, and he finally did it, and then it sucked. So
I can't remember if in WWECW did they officially announce them as brother and sister. Like, not to shift away from St. Valentine's Day Massacre for a second, but yeah, bringing that to my attention. If they did that, that's really messed up. But like, they might have been implied. I know if they didn't do that, I know of another time that they did actually pull the trigger on brother and sister stuff in WWE, and it was like very short lived. But it was Katie Lee Burchill and Paul Burchill. They did that one time too. And like Katie Lee said something to the effect of like, I would do anything for my big brother or something like that. It was just really bizarre. But that was post.
Yeah, needless to say, Vince and all of his company are just not in generally a good eye as far as the family values are concerned, as far as wanting these incest storylines to take place. Like, not only is it gross, it's just it's not in good taste. Like,
It's not.
who would want their 8-year-old kid to walk in and see, I seen Katie Lee Burchell and Paul Burchell, they're brother and sister on TV. Oh, I can do that in real life too. Yeah, that's teaching your kids great values there, Vince.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
that's all I gotta say on that.
Yeah. Just really odd. Yeah.
It really is. It's really, really odd, actually.
Yeah. Well, kind of changing gears back to, back on the card here. 3 more matches for the night. The next match, we have a tag team match. We have the Corporation, which was a recently joined China, and Kane at this time, taking on DX, which would be Triple H and X-Pac. And I have down here in my notes that, like I was mentioning, China had just turned heel on Triple H to join the Corporation. Shane McMahon comes out on commentary, and he is absolutely Shane is doing everything in his power to be as annoying as possible around this time, put how I can put that. He's trying to get as much heat on commentary as he can. Match is pretty fluent. Again, high spots include, for me, Kane cleaned house pretty well. Kane protected China pretty well. So, China didn't take way too many bumps or spots because, you think in this match that, they would try to, target China where she just turned, right? But, China would set herself up for her own bumps. She would do stuff like miss elbow drops, run into the turnbuckle. But she did take some bumps, like a suplex and some things like that. But basically, the match ends after Triple H goes for the pedigree on China. Kane comes in, stops him, choke slams him, drags China over on top of Triple H, and we get a pin. Also, I left out another high spot I enjoyed. X-Pac actually hits China with a Bronco Buster. I thought that was cool. And at the time, the Bronco Buster was over like Rover. I felt like people love seeing the Bronco Buster in the Attitude Era. I thought this was a good match. Overall, good. Better than slightly above average. I'm going to actually give this one 7.5, 7.5 out of 10. It was a good lead in to the 2 biggest matches of the night coming up. And ET, what do you think about the Corporation taking on DX here?
Kane. All right, Kane and China defeated Triple H and X-Pac in 14 minutes and 45 seconds. Meltzer writes, Shane McMahon came out to be on guest commentary. Joy, always a blast with him on commentary. This was a good match for where it was on the card. China body slammed Triple H and then hit a power slam on X-Pac. Towards the end, Triple H would throw a punch to China, and she bumped for Triple H. X-Pac gave her a Bronco Buster, which was a very fun spot in the match. Shane would hit the ring and clothesline X-Pac. X-Pac and Shane McMahon would fight to the back. Triple H whipped Kane into the steps and then set up for a pedigree on China. Kane came back in after that bump, gave him a choke slam, and then placed China on top for the pin. Meltzer gave this one 2.5 stars. I give this one a 7 out of 10. I thought this was a very good match for all the superstars involved, and this would eventually lead to Triple H and China joining the Corporation after WrestleMania 15. Spoiler alert there, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. Got to give you that spoiler. Jared?
I said China wants to start the match, but tells Kane to go to the apron, but that doesn't happen. Kane starts off hot with clotheslines and headbutts. Boot goes for more, but Kane puts his boot to Hunter's face. X-Pac gets tagged in, and Kane ruins him. China wants on, but Kane is reluctant, but does it. Pac goes for the Bronco Buster, but misses. Kane's back in and gets wrecked by Pac and then by Hunter. Kane trips into the ropes, and China gives him a forearm. Two double teams by DX on Kane. China gets back and knocks Triple H off of the apron. China gets Pac asleep back and delivers a back body suplex. X gets the hot tag. Triple H gives the flying knee to China, but he gets thrown out of the ring. Kane delivers the chokeslam to Triple H, and China pins and wins. 9 out of 10. I said China deserved the world championship.
Yeah, China was on a roll at this time, and they really made it look like she was going to be prominent, not just in women's action, but in the men's action too, obviously, as showcased by this match, really. She could take it to just about anybody at this time.
Right.
So very interesting time for China, as ET alluded to as well. This was right the precipice of Triple H's big heel turn and character development, post DX. This is leading up to him and China actually swerving everybody and joining up with the corporation before the McMahon-Helmsley regime and before Triple H and Stephanie. This is where we're ultimately leading up with this. But yeah, good spot for this match. Liked the action in it. I thought everybody, for what it's worth, looked very good in this. Now for the last two matches of the night, really, I almost consider this show, I know there's always a main event and then the match before the main event, but these two matches are kind of, to me, co-main events. I know they built up this show around the first meeting between Stone Cold McMahon and the main event, which we'll get to here in a second. But right before that, we, of course, have the WWF title on the line between the corporate champ. He was the corporate champ this time. Mankind was the champion. And The Rock was trying to get back the WWF title. And this is coming off Halftime Heat, when Mankind beat him for it. And before that, their infamous I Quit match at the Royal Rumble. So, these two at this time, I felt like Rock and Mankind were killing it. And I was looking forward to going back and watching this match. And this, like I mentioned earlier, this is the official longest match on the card. This one went 22 minutes, 22 long minutes, but it was well worth it. What I have to say about this match, both men hit their signature moves throughout various points. They start out brawling really outside the ring. Mankind hits a DDT through a table over near like the technical area, over near the stage. And speaking of the stage setup, something I want to talk about right here is they make use of the like steel beams near the entrance ramp. Thought that was a cool spot. We get some pretty harsh bumps here, but I mean, it's a Mick Foley match, aka Mankind. What else can you expect here? Like bumps galore. So with that being said, the two bumps that I saw Mankind take that I thought were pretty wild was they went over and fought around the announce table. Rock, shows how much charisma he has. He sits down, puts on the headset, starts talking trash. Mankind interrupts him, punches him. But they get up on the announce table, and Rock back body drops Mankind off of it. And when Mankind flips over the Rock, it looks like the back of his head hits the edge of the announce table, and his leg hits part of the ring bell, I believe, the ring bell. He hits the ring bell or the chair over there, and it looks like a rough bump, but Mankind, kudos to him. This is what I'm saying. This match right here is a perfect example of why, to me, The Rock is a personification of having charisma in the WWE with the headset spot and The Rock's mannerisms. And obviously, Foley is the personification of grittiness, toughness. Doesn't matter how many times you knock him down, he's going to get back up because he's Mrs. Foley's baby boy. Anyway, getting back to it, The Rock also has another very charismatic spot that I really enjoyed in this match, where he starts singing SmackDown Hotel, little Elvis spoof because we're in Memphis here. Mankind interrupts him, And then The Rock on the mic, you can still hear him as he's being like choked out there for a second, and he's struggling with Mankind. I really enjoyed that. Basically, this match ends in a draw, though. You're probably thinking, well, how's that happen in a last man standing match? And I love the ending to this match because right before this happens, they each hit their finishers again. The Rock has already hit a people's elbow at this point, but he hits another rock bottom. And beforehand, Mankind hits a double arm DDT on the chair. And then it ends with both men swinging a steel chair and hitting the side of each other's cranium. Both men get knocked out. Can't answer the 10 count. This is a draw leading into Mania. Last pay-per-view for Mania. Great match. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Two main event players living up to the hype and going all out in a grueling last man standing match. What would you like to add, Mr. E.T.?
Mankind retained the WWF Championship via the double count in 21 minutes and 54 seconds. Meltzer wrote, no pinfalls or submissions were allowed in this match with the last man standing stipulation. Mankind hit The Rock with the belt, but Rock would go below and then take the belt from Mankind, hit him with it instead. They ended up brawling up the aisle and whipped up each other into the lighting structures at the entranceway. Mankind DDT Rock through a table. Rock suplexed Mankind onto the floor. Mankind missed an elbow drop. Rock hit 3 suplexes on the floor, 3 Amigos style. Mankind got back up, attacked him, and then hit a diving elbow onto him. Rock would attack the bad knee of Foley with the chair, go for a shot to the head, but Mankind would dunk underneath it, and Rock hit himself off the ropes in a very funny spot. Both men would hit their finishers on each other, and then they would simultaneously knock each other out with steel chairs for the double 10 count. Meltzer rated this 3 3/4 stars. This was his highest rated match of the night. I agree with him. For me, this one is a 9.5 out of 10. Mankind, it should have been the WWF champion for a longer period, but they had to get to the eventual Rock and Stone Cold WrestleMania 15 main event. I do feel like Mankind gets slighted, though, in the WWF championship talks, though, because he didn't really have it for a long time, cumulative days. And it kind of really, and I hate to make this comparison, but I'm going to. When you see a Mankind, somebody who works his tail off, who loves what he does, who doesn't ask for much, he just wants to be remembered as a name in professional wrestling. When I look at Mankind, I see a lot of myself. And as far as SVBW is concerned, I love Mick Foley. I might not do a lot of his moves, except for the DDT. I do love doing the DDT, but Mankind is definitely one of my most underrated WWF champions of all time, and one of the most kindest men you'll ever meet in the professional wrestling industry. And both me and J. Phil can vouch for that. Jared?
Absolutely.
There's not a lot I can add, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. You guys said everything. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was obviously one of the better ones. I give it a 10 out of 10. I thought it was great storytelling. It plays off of the Royal Rumble earlier in the year, and then also, all of the stuff they've been through a year and a half or so. So it's really good, and I'm really happy that I got to watch that match, honestly.
All right. All around the same ballpark there with the ratings. Me a 9, ET a 9.5, and you rounding it out with a perfect 10. Very good. Yeah. Now we lead into the main event after that, which this is as you started us out with at the top of the show. It was very cool with the video package, the pay-per-view commercial for St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Appreciate that again, Mr. Jared. So, this is what we've been building up. The fans have been anxiously awaiting Stone Cold to get his hands on Mr. McMahon in an official match. And not just any match here. It's going to be a steel cage match.
Right. Black steel cage, too.
Yes, the black Attitude Era steel cage, which is kind of similar to the Golden Era blue cage, like in the rungs. But I wish they would use that cage more because it's easy to climb. You know, it's not the chain link. It's unique, but yet it still looks menacing. You know what I mean? For a steel cage.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. So
actually, wait, hold on. I think they use the same cage for the Ambrose Asylum match, right?
The black with the better footing and the St. Valentine's Day cage.
I'm
it was a
fairly
different
certain
variation of it, but
it was a variation,
but it was very close.
Because I did. Yeah, because they did have the chain link. It actually kind of looked like this one.
Yeah,
closer to this.
It did. With a few modifications, I'm sure for those. Yeah, but that's the closest we've seen it since this. I feel like.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yes, so a little background into this match, of course. If you're familiar with the rise of Stone Cold, even after the WrestleMania before WrestleMania 14 when he beat Shawn, this is really when we're getting into Stone Cold taking on the entire corporation, but especially button heads with Mr. McMahon over every little thing. Basically, this takes place after the Rumble. Vince McMahon had The Rock help him, a little bit of corporation help. He threw Stone Cold over the top rope, won the Royal Rumble, 1999 Royal Rumble. So basically, and then the next, a little bit later on Raw, Vince announces that he's just going to forfeit his chance to be in the WrestleMania main event where he won the Rumble. Commissioner Shawn Michaels says, because you forfeited that right, you forfeit it to the runner-up, which is, you guessed it, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Vince gets very pissy, and he does not want that to happen. So the last hurdle for Stone Cold to get through is to beat the devil himself, the boss, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, in the steel cage here at St. Valentine's Day Massacre before he can go to the main event of WrestleMania. Now, this match is, I would say, pretty hard-hitting for Vince. Obviously, Stone Cold always brings it, but for Vince, he takes some really harsh bumps here. So I'll first say mad respect to Vince for the bumps that I'm about to go over that he takes in this match. Austin gets mad at Vince as he's coming down to the ring, chases him around the ring, doesn't exactly get to him at first. Then he feigns like a knee injury at the Stone Cold feigns a knee injury near the announce table, draws back in Vince, which is a ploy. It's a setup. They brawl even a little bit into the crowd there, or over near the crowd, I should say. And then they both start climbing the cage, and this is where McMahon takes such a big bump that it's implied that he can't even compete. So they both start climbing the the back side of the cage, facing the announce tables, and Austin smashes Vince's face into the cage, and Vince takes the fall. Not quite the Mankind Hell in a Cell fall, but halfway up the cage, or around about.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And hits the announce table, and it looked pretty rough. Like, I don't think he took that bump how he should have, which Vince isn't a wrestler, but, you're supposed to take bumps on your lower back or closer towards your keister, obviously. So Vince didn't do that. He hit like spine first, like mid-spine first.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty crazy. He, bounced up. It was wild, to see that image. But, as a kid, if you're rooting for Stone Cold, you're like, get him, Stone Cold. Yeah, yeah. But you're like, hell yeah, take that, Vince. But they start to stretch her out Vince, and Stone Cold says, now that's bullshit. This is not how this is going to go down. I'm going to beat his ass. Gets him back in the ring, absolutely goes to town, throws him into the cage, bloodies him, acts like he's going to escape a couple times. The first time he acts like he's going to go through the cage door, but he's not quite done with Vince yet, wants to put him through a little bit more punishment. Then the time he's actually going to escape, when he climbs over the top, Vince tells him he's number one, not once, but twice with both hands. So it's that iconic image of bloodied Vince on his knees, being like, "Get back in here, you SOB." You know, like, not, come on, Austin, is that all you got? Austin gets extremely pissed off, gets back in the ring, beats him up some more, hits a stunner, and just when you think it's all over, from underneath the canvas, a debuting Paul White. Formerly the Giant, WCW, everybody knows him as Big Show if you follow wrestling. This is how Big Show was introduced. He gets in there, starts beating up Stone Cold pretty good. Just when you think all is lost and Vince is actually going to pull this out somehow and screw over Stone Cold again somehow, Paul White lawn darts. What I mean by lawn dart is he almost tries to throw Austin like a projectile missile off his shoulder, head first into the cage, kind of. And then Stone Cold grabs the cage, the front side cage nearest the entrance ramp, breaks off, not fully from its hinges, but it swings out from the ring. Stone Cold hits feet first, and that's how Austin goes to Mania. And you see a bloody, crying Vince in the ring, and it's an iconic image, and this is one of the most iconic Attitude Era shows because of this main event. I gave it almost a perfect 10. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. They really couldn't have done much more. Not quite perfect for me, but as close to perfect as you can get for the Stone Cold McMahon thing. And it's iconic in its own right.
Yeah.
ET, what do you think about this match?
All right, main event, Stone Cold defeated Vince McMahon in 7 minutes and 52 seconds inside a black steel cage. Stone Cold came out first, followed by Vince. What a crop of BS, wrote Meltzer. Austin ran into the side of the cage and hit him. And McMahon acted like he is beating him up. Austin feigned a knee injury. McMahon would be thrown off the side of the cage after going through some big-time spots there. McMahon flipped him off, and Austin would come back in, hit a couple stunners. McMahon will flip him off again in Defiant style. Big Show Paul White will come up through the cage, try to take out Stone Cold Steve Austin by throwing him into the steel cage sidewall, which I don't know whether that spot was planned or not. If it was planned, that was a genius plan. If it's not planned, then I think a very innovative finish on the fly. Stone Cold climbs down from the cage to pick up the victory in this match. Meltzer gave this one 2 3/4 stars. I give this one an 8.5 out of 10. It's not as good as the WWF Championship match, but it gets Stone Cold Steve Austin to the point to the where we know that he's going to be challenging for the World Wrestling Federation Championship at WrestleMania 15, regardless of who the champion is going to be. So it done a great job in doing that. Jared?
Well,
That's right. The Big Show does debut on this show as Paul White. I had to throw his old theme in there. Again, you guys said it all. I really can't, except for like the little memes here and there. I like this match. I gave it 10 out of 10. And I absolutely loved it. I thought way to debut a new wrestler, especially one coming from WCW, known as Andre the Giant's son, or the Giant in WCW. One of the, I would say probably the best member of the NWO, especially towards his dying days. There's really nothing else I can really say. I absolutely love this this match, and I'm interested to see how you guys rated the show. To be quite honest.
All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time, as we always do here, on Reviewing All Comers, to give a final letter grade for the show. Of course, if they weren't already, if you fans out there and listeners weren't already aware, we do give occasionally like pluses, minuses. So if we're like on the borderline of what something should be, then we'll do that. I'm going to give this show a solid B.
Okay.
Not quite a B plus, and not a little bit under an A. I think a B is suitable for this. like I said, there were a couple lulls. The cons, the low points of this being Boss Man, Midian, and the opener, Goldust and Blue Dust. But the good heavily outweighs the bad here to give it a great B rating for me. The world title match between Rock and Mankind, the main event, Stone Cold McMahon actually doing really well with each other. I mean, it was worth the wait. Like, if you put yourself back, as a fan during the Attitude Era, or if you grew up around this time watching it, you're like, man, that was really good. I'm glad I watched that. So that's why I give this a B. There were other highlights. The Venus Shamrock was pretty cool, but the Corporation tag match was actually very good too. Yeah, overall for me, a solid B. Great all around, pretty much.
All right.
All right, E.T., what would you give it what letter grade would you overall rate the show?
Yep. I'll agree with that. Overall, I will give this pay-per-view a B+, simply for the second half of the pay-per-view. From the Intercontinental Championship match on down, I thought they done a very good job of booking this event the way that it needed to, and especially getting Mankind over in a spot where it was ultimately a draw, a no decision, still was a very good finish for him. And then, of course, Stone Cold winning the main event definitely sent the fans home happy and looking forward to WrestleMania 15. So I'll give this one a B+. Jared?
Well,
I love it. I give it a B. I also give it a solid B, just like Phillips there.
It is good.
I agree. The good ultimately outweighs the bad, but the bad is still really bad, and I don't think it gets anything above like a 70%. Which really kind of sucks because this is the only time they do this pay-per-view. Just like New Year's Revenge later, and we don't really get to see another one. I know this is a part of the in your house thing, but again, I mean, this is like this could be a really good pay-per-view, especially doing it now. To really get some hardcore stuff from there, But you know what? Great ending. The last 3 matches are excellent, and I give it a solid B as well. I like the show a lot. I do.
Yeah. It's one of those Attitude Era shows, and I know that Triple H has been bringing stuff back in recent memory, like NXT's had Halloween Havoc, and they've even brought back In Your House. This show was technically, it was a pay-per-view, but it was In Your House, right? St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it falls under that category, we can hold out hope as wrestling fans that,
Correct.
Maybe there would be a card good enough or in Triple H's head that it would be suitable at one point, maybe to put back on a St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
That'd be awesome.
Right, and I was going to give you a little bit of a mashup here in my head. I don't know if you guys remember, wasn't there an entrance? It might have been John Cena's. If I'm not mistaken, it was John Cena's. It was a WrestleMania entrance for him. Was it like 22 or 23 where he came out like it was like a mafia gangster style entrance? And like you had like the mafia members with like the machine guns, and they had the suits on and the get up and stuff, right?
I believe that was
CM Punk was one
22.
He was one of the.
That was when he fought Triple H.
Okay, 22.
All right, so that entrance right there, like keep that in your heads for a second. Imagine a rebooted
22.
St. Valentine's Day Massacre nowadays. Yeah, imagine a rebooted St. Valentine's Day Massacre with like gangster theme and like edginess, and I think it would be perfect for NXT.
I agree. Yeah,
like that's just what I think of in my head. I would love to see this show make a comeback.
Yeah, me
absolutely.
Just
I'll agree with that.
Bringing it into the modern light, I think it'd be very cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I have a special announcement for the next episode. We did In Your House St. Valentine's Day Massacre, And now, just so everyone knows, every 10 episodes are going to do a special episode. This special episode, in episode 10, All In for 2018. The beginning of AEW, really. The only show that wasn't a WWE or WCW pay-per-view to sell over 10,000 tickets.
Yes.
Since 1993. Okay. Was it 25 years? That's amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah, we can't wait to review that one for you, and that's one hell of an announcement to Jared. I can't wait to get Logan and Jake and everybody else who cut, the special guests we have here. I hear you loving it over there. I'm already loving it already too. I'm looking forward to episode 10 when we review it next, and hopefully we can get as many people on there as possible to be a part of the special 10th episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I am very excited. I heard him be excited, man. I can't wait.
Well, that's about it from us. We appreciate everybody listening to the Reviewing All Comers podcast. We do like to mix it up. We still love hearing from you fans, whether it's Instagram, taking part of Facebook polls, whatever you can reach us on. Just let us know if there's a show you're really wanting to hear about or a topic you'd like for us to discuss. We mix it up. We try to hit all companies. We try to keep it good and fresh and mix it up and not just focus too much on one company at one time. We bounce from company to company and show to show, and we appreciate everybody again. And make sure you check out our socials. Gentlemen, drop any socials you want on the way out, and I'll let you guys wrap us up.
I'll let ET go first. Go ahead, ET.
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at BubbaTie1, capital B and capital T. I'm also the host of the ET Considers Everything podcast on Spotify and Anchor. Just got done recording episode number 105 this past weekend. A very fun show, talking all things sports, wrestling this week, and UVA-wise athletics, and just a whole lot more. And coming up this weekend, we'll be talking about the July 4th Independence Day weekend. We'll also be talking about the SVBW Adrenaline event, the sports week and weekend, and the wrestling week and weekend as well. Who knows? Might have an interview with somebody special. You never can tell with me on that show. So check that out, Spotify, and I'm on Facebook, Eric Tyler Mullins.
You can follow me on Instagram at Jared Weathers YT, Jared Weathers Official on YouTube, Jared Weathers Official on Twitch as well. And of course, the Weathers Media Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your podcasts. We're on it. All right. Coming up here, I would say in a couple months or so. Not gonna spoil it yet, but it's gonna be the three of us, and it's gonna be a good time. And I'm excited for All In.
That's right. And Jared, you can't forget to mention one last thing too, other than socials. Stay tuned. We're bringing back the All-Star Wrestling Quiz.
All-Star Wrestling Quiz. So this will actually come out a few days after, but you can still watch it on YouTube. All-Star Wrestling Quiz number seven, where champion E.T. Eric Tyler Mullins will be defending his championship against Justin.
Yeah, I'll be on it.
Justin, Robbie, Logan, Amy. It's going to be a good time. This is going to be a very difficult one. So make sure you guys study up. And, oh, man, I love doing this quiz, man. I love it.
Looking forward to it, man. Should be a blast.
Yes, same here. All right, everybody,
Yes,
thank you once again, and we will catch you on the next episode of Reviewing All Comers. Stay tuned.
All In. Here we go.